Here's how conspiracy theories work. And I've gone back and forth with some people in my DMs about this. One person said, oh, well, look at this. Look at how much Israel lobbies in our government. Charlie was a big critic of Islam, much bigger critic of Islam than he was of Israel. Charlie was a big critic of China. Charlie was a confidant of the president who has been very harsh on Russia. Tell me why there aren't a bunch of theories about those countries' involvement in Charlie's murder. Like, again, ask why it goes back to Israel.
Grace and peace, everybody. You saw the thumbnail. You heard the intro. You know what we're going to talk about. Allie Beth Stuckey says the quiet part out loud. Why in the world is everything going back to Israel, not China, not Russia, not Islam, not any other people group or nation? Why is it always back to there? And I think she did a great job. So let's bring it in. Let's talk about it. Let's go, Allie.
Here's how conspiracy theories work, okay? Because conspiracy theories are different than critical thinking and question asking. And innuendo is different than investigation. And implication is different than investigation. And I'm not even pointing fingers right now. I've seen a lot of different Instagram posts, a lot of different X posts from a lot of different people, some that are asking good questions and some that are just spinning up suspicion. And again, those two things aren't the same. So this is what you need to look for when it comes to any claim. If it's a claim that I make, if it's a claim that someone else makes, especially when someone is creating a series out of multiple claims, okay? So this is
Just
how
say
conspiracy theories work. One, you exploit distrust or gaps of information. So in this case, we don't trust the government. That's true. We have good reason not to trust the government. There have been things that the government has said that are kind of sketchy, like text exchange that the government claimed was between the shooter and the partner. A lot of people said that it seemed fake, although I think that there are some questions about that. To exploit pre-existing suspicions or resentment. So in this case, the people claiming that Israel was involved in this, like, already didn't like Israel. So that to me is a little suspicious. Like, it would be a lot more credible to me if the people pursuing this theory didn't already blame Israel for other things. Like, if they were blaming Germany for this, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, because I don't see any like vested interest in accusing this particular country. Or if people who like never criticized Israel in the past were like, yeah, I really think Israel is a part of this, then that might be a little bit more intriguing. But it just seems a little bit too on the nose and coincidental that Israel would be involved in a crime, and it's being found out by people who are already super critical of Israel. Another characteristic is giving partial truths. So like there are some truths that are in this claim, as we already validated. Netanyahu didn't say everything was in that letter. Charlie did exchange words with Bill Ackman. Charlie was concerned with Israel's direction. So all of these things are true. But then there's also this aspect, giving full truths, but making it seem like they're tied together with a secret sauce of special knowledge without ever actually providing the receipts and the evidence to prove those connections. So this happened, this exists, and these two things are connected because we should be asking how, why. So we should be asking, what do those two things have in common? How are those two things connected? What do those two things have to do with each other, and what do they have to do with Charlie's murder? I need to be told specifically. I need to be told directly. I need to be told explicitly, because if we're making claims about who is involved in Charlie's murder, like I need the tangible evidence of those connections. It's not enough to just tell me that some things happened and some things exist. Also, as I said, innuendo is not investigation. So if someone knows something, if they have insider information, then they need to release it to the public. Like, I don't want a drip campaign. I don't want multiple, like a thread on this. Like, I want to know. Like, if we all are seeking the truth and I want to know the truth too, then I want to know up front. I don't want like these, this person said this, but I know for a fact that that's not true. Tell me how you know for a fact. I want to know, how do you know for a fact? And like, what is the truth? Gosh, I really want to know, what is the truth? So here are my specific questions when it comes to this Israel claim. Why would Israel, whose existence is largely dependent upon the support of the U.S., take out one of the most vocal supporters of Israel and Judaism? Why would they target a confidant of one of the most pro-Israel presidents of all time? Would Israel really risk the further alienation of the American right, literally some of its only lasting supporters in the world, by taking out one of our biggest heroes?
That is a great question. And I think I had not thought about these questions. So I think Allie is on the money. She's over the target. No question, no doubt. Let's go.
And would they do it in a way that internet sleuths can figure out? Because it's either Israel is very stupid or they're extremely cunning and conniving, but I don't understand how they can be both. And I've gone back and forth with some people in my DMs about this. One person said, oh, well, look at this. Look at how much Israel lobbies in our government. Like, look at how much they're trying to influence the media. Look at how many times they're, meeting with commentators, how they were talking to Charlie Kirk and trying to influence what he thinks. Okay, but even if that's true, and even if you have a problem with that, what does that have to do with this? Because do you know how many countries and how many corporations do that? Like, do you know how many of these entities are trying to influence American media? China,
Great
Russia
question.
are two of the main ones. Iran, another one. And, Charlie was a big critic of Islam. Much bigger critic of Islam than he was of Israel. Charlie was a big critic of China. Charlie was a confidant of the president who has been very harsh on Russia. Tell me why there aren't a bunch of theories about those countries' involvement in Charlie's murder. Like, again, ask why it goes back to Israel. Charlie was critical of a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of countries and a lot of different ideologies. Like, why is it his criticism of one part of what a particular government is doing in the Middle East? Why does that have to be the thing that probably led to his murder? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's not adding up to me.
I think those questions are fantastic. Allie's asking the right kind of questions, and I want to know what y'all think about them. Do you agree with her perspective? Like, and maybe we need to go back over those steps, if you will, of a conspiracy. And the questions she asks just don't add up. It doesn't make sense. If we are the biggest supporter of Israel, why would they do something so reckless against an American hero? Why would they do that? That make it make sense. I mean, the onus is on the conspirators to come up with and explain that, not on us who don't believe the conspiracy. But let me know what you think down below. Give me your 2 cents if you agree with Allie, or maybe you have some different perspective. And I'm not saying that we cannot ask questions. That has never been said, and nobody's ever saying that. You cannot ask questions. You can ask questions, but you got to have good answers. And let me know what you think down below. I appreciate y'all rocking with us. Until next time, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.